0, 1, 2, 3. Let's get started.
What's up, everybody? It is Cam Hand, the Fantasy Man, here with our Week 1 fantasy recap. I'm having to do the video a little bit differently, see how it slides. Not a huge fan, but I had to because the app is not working with me. Not that any of you care about that, but let's get into it. I have a pretty long video, I would assume, lots of dabs, some announcements. So let's just get into it. I wanted to do a quick wedding announcement for those of you who are not good enough to be invited to the wedding. Just skip this part. But for those of you who are, I just wanted to, people watch this. I just thought it'd be a good time to tell you guys what's going on. Maybe for Bobby out there, all the Saturdays, they generally have a tough time remembering things. And anyone else really who's going, who needs to know what's happening. So Friday at 11 a.m. to 3 p.m., preferably getting there at 11 a.m., you arrive at the venue, or the groomsmen arrive at the venue. Actually, really, anyone can come to this. 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. is like a lunch. It's getting catered by Chick-fil-A. We're going to play football. It's going to be fun. There's going to be like spike ball and stuff like that. So come there. I put to the right the venue with the address, so put that in there. You can arrive on Friday at 11 to 3 to play football and stuff. Now, then 4 p.m. is, then we don't have to dress nice for the rehearsal. 4 o'clock's the rehearsal where we practice walking down the aisle. That is only for groomsmen, so Greg and whomever can't come to that. Then there's a rehearsal dinner at 5, only for groomsmen again. And you have to dress nice, preferably a suit. And if not a suit, then a button down and nice, just dress nice, please. And then there's a party at the property at 8 p.m. for everybody. It's going to be super fun. And then the wedding, you have to be at the wedding venue at 5 p.m. Okay, Greg, Tyler, anybody else who's listening who is being invited to the wedding, you have to be there at 5. Also, fill out the wedding survey. I put it in both group chats for or both chats for the Dynasty and Redraft League. So fill that out. I will be displaying the results. It'll be really funny. Next week, we've already gotten 10 responses. So let me know if you have any questions. But let's get into it. First video of the week. Best matchup was Doug and Broker. Very close. The closest matchup. It basically came down to Brock Purdy being benched at the end of the game due to the fact that they smoked the Jets. That was great game, great matchup, and low-key rivals, Doug and Cameron Broker, if you ask me. Worst matchup was Matt and Ashton. I know people have been saying I've been riding Matt a little bit, but, who really cares about those two? And it wasn't ever close, so not very interesting matchup. Worst injury luck. This could have gone to Doug. Somebody else. There were some injuries. Could have gone to Doug because of the Puka injury, but Puka was already injured coming in the season, and Doug knew that, so he knew the risk. But Bobby he didn't have T. Higgins, and he also lost Ferguson for an extended amount of time, so I give Bobby worst injury luck here. I'm going to go most unlucky, Doug. He lost in a super close game. Puka injury, and Purdy got benched. If Purdy didn't get benched, maybe Doug could have won. If Puka didn't get injured, he probably would have won. So Doug just overall unlucky this week. Then we got most lucky, we got Bobby. I could have given it to whoever Doug played. I forget, Cameron Broker. But I'm going to give it to Bobby because Bobby won with his kicker putting up 26 points. And it was a close matchup with Preston. If not for the 26 points from his kicker, then he would have probably lost, I think. And yeah, and kicker is 9 times out of 10, it's super lucky if you get an insane kicker game. And Bobby got one of the best kicker games ever. So that was pretty wild. Dumbest move, we're gonna go with Ashton. I thought about Dylan here because he didn't play Pollard and didn't play someone else, and instead he played Najee Harris and someone else stupid. But I'm going to go with Ashton with the Rome Odunze play. I mean, maybe he didn't have much better options, but rookie with a rookie quarterback. So he's playing a rookie wide receiver who's like the third string wide receiver on that team. And his quarterback, the quarterback for Rome Odunze is obviously Caleb Williams in his first game. That was never going to go well for Rome Odunze. And I wouldn't have done it. I just thought that was a dumb move. Smart move, Matt, I guess, riding with Diggs. A lot of people, wouldn't have drafted Diggs. A lot of people probably wouldn't have played Diggs in his first game with the Texans. But Diggs popped off, paid off. It wasn't like the smartest move ever. Anybody probably would have played Diggs. But I think it was the smartest move in the league this week. There wasn't a ton of smart moves in week 1. Best free agent move, Jordan Mason pickup. That was pretty much the only pickup that was good. There's maybe 1 or 2 defenses that were picked up that was good, but Jordan Mason could have some lasting value here. And, Matt didn't play him, but it's still a good pickup. Stock rising is obviously Greg. A lot of people were talking trash about Greg's team. I don't know who they were. It wasn't me. But a lot of people were saying negative things about Greg's team, and he proved them all wrong. Again, I was with Greg all along. And I don't know why I said he put up 185. I don't think he did that. It was more like in the 160s. But stock rising. Stock rising on Greg. Everybody can stop hating on him. And, some people are also criticizing him for not playing soccer. I am one of those people, but Greg's fantasy team's looking decent. Stock falling is me. Pitiful performance. I had very high expectations for my first week. But still early, guys. Let's, no panicking yet. But my stock is undoubtedly falling like Doug is in that video and Connor. Best player has got to be Greg. Put up the most points. Cup and A-Chain look like they're probably going to pay off. I mean, A-Chain, I don't trust his health. Cup, it was a little bit of a risky pick. Or not really where Greg took him. It was a good pick, but a little bit of a risky pick. In general, it seems like, Cup got 21 targets. He could be back to the old Cup. We shall see. Worst player was Ashton, 72 points, started Rome Odunze, started JSN. Ashton, we all know, loves young players because he watched them in college, and Ashton watches a pretty much average amount of college football, so he just drafts all dudes who were good in college. So worst player there. Greg had that dog again, popped off for, I don't think it was 185, but everybody was hating on him. Everybody was hating on Greg. Again, not me, but, he popped off, so you got to give him that dog. Shout out Misty Cat, RIP. All right, and then here's the, weekly leaderboard standings. Not leaderboard, it's like, I don't even know what to call it, but, it's only been 1 week. We all see where we're at. Season segments, I want to give a few shout-outs here. We got Dylan. I heard he scored a goal in what seemed to be a very controversial soccer match for what's your guys' team name? It's not Pickles, it's something purple. I don't remember you guys' team name, but anyway, he scored a goal for him, which is huge because if anybody knows anything about that soccer team, they never let Dylan play. They never let me play. We all know the famous incident with Will, Randy, and Hunter. They never let any of us, normal guys play. So Dylan coming in and scoring a huge goal while the likes of Hunter are getting thrown out of games. That deserves a shout out. He wrote his speech. I hear good things about his speech, so happy about that. Wrote his speech for the wedding. Preston, some of you might not know, he's having another child, and it will be a girl baby. He's got nothing else going on there, but girl baby, it's pretty big. He said that he's considering letting the winner of this fantasy league choose the name of his child. So that could be an extra bonus for everyone. Matt, I made a trade with Matt this week. Stand-up guy. Quick texter back. He's like the polar opposite of Bobby. Like, he actually texts you back when you text him about trades, and we got it done. So he deserves a shout out. Logan, pretty sure he's moving to Colorado, for those of you who didn't know. So we might be able to go on a ski trip up there. He's thinking of working for a ski resort, and we could get some discounts. So that deserves a shout out. Andrew, he got a DUI this week. Just that's more of an update than a shout out, but watch out on the roads. And Sam, I just want to give Sam a quick shout out. I know people have maybe heard me say this, but I'm all in on Sam. Total 180 on Sam. I'm in. So this was the rankings, even though Doug was roasting me, being like, oh, Cameron, like, his rankings were so bad. I mean, Greg shot up from 11 to 1. I mean, that's fine. Dylan from 12 to 6, so he went up. It's week 1, people. People are going to move. Hunter, but my rankings weren't really that off. Hunter from 1 to 2. Broker, he won 2 to 4. I went way down, which, whatever. Anyway, this is what we got. Greg, Hunter, Matt, Broker, Bobby, Dylan, Preston. Preston stays pretty much the same. Doug, Will, Sam, Cameron, Ash, and it's going to change a lot this year, guys. So keep an eye on this. Now, this next one is a prequel to our Dabs slide, I guess. As you know, I had spoken a lot. Me and Will had gone back and forth a lot on the whole Kyren Williams punt thing. My take is that I didn't think Kyren Williams would actually return that many punts. But if he did return a bunch of punts, that would definitely be bad for him. Will comes back with me with a ton of copy and saying, no way. Like, it doesn't matter if he returns punts, just extra touches. I was saying how nobody who returned punts was ever good at fantasy. And then Will was saying that Cordell Patterson broke the punt returning record the one year he was good in fantasy. And he didn't. This is his career punt returns here. He's only returned 1 punt in his whole entire career. Man, I have a lot of pop-ups. And yeah, so that was just major copium from Will, major dabs from Will. Cordell Patterson never returned punts. Nobody who returns punts is ever good in fantasy. And then I also, this little picture to the right is a good reminder of, this was week 1 last year, guys. Mac Jones, week 1 last year, put up 25 points. Jalen Hurts put up 12. Josh Allen, 12. Stroud, 9. You can look through. Isaiah Pacheco, 5. George Kittle, 4. Trey McBride, 4. Like, it's week 1, guys. Everybody overreacts to week 1. Doug's out here, even though he lost, overreacting. Hunter is about as cocky as it can be right now. Just chill out. It's week 1, okay? So let's get to dabs. Now, before we get to dabs, I've explained it. This is the last time I'm going to explain it. I'm spreading out the dabs this year. Since I don't live in Cumming anymore, I need to spread out the dabs. People gave me dabs for, say, the soccer game. They're like, hey, Cameron, here's some dabs for the soccer game. Hunter stabbed somebody, dabs. I will put those on the next video. Most of these dabs are from the draft and some from this week. So just don't text me being like, oh, Cameron, why didn't you add the dabs I sent you? They're probably coming next week. Okay, so just, if anyone asks me about it, it's dabs. But I gave 2 dabs to everyone who overreacts to week 1. Also, just a notable dabs for overreacting to a player who touches the ball 3 times and gets 2 touchdowns. Everybody knows low volume dudes who get touchdowns are just boom or bust guys. Like, we all know this, guys. Like, come on, we've seen Gabe Davis. People can have 2 touchdown games, but if they only touch the ball 3 times, it's not sustainable. So just remember that. Greg, for not realizing wide receivers would be flying off the board, 2 dabs. Greg, in the draft, he was like dumbfounded that people were taking wide receivers. It was huge amounts of dabs. I'm not even going to get into it, but everybody should have known that wide receivers were going to be flying off the board. Dylan, this is classic Dylan. I heard this happen, but Dylan said that he didn't start Devontae Smith when he did. Absolutely classic Dylan. I'm going to put... I want to put the thing on where pop-ups stop happening. All right. That's classic Dylan. Doug for thinking ETN is a troll pick. 3 dabs. Doug is an absolute troll. ETN was the 3rd best running back last year. You might not like the pick. It definitely wasn't a troll pick. Doug for thinking he is unequivocally right about every fantasy take, and if you don't agree with him, you're an idiot. 5 dabs. I like to, when I talk fantasy, just say my opinion and not state it as fact. Doug, on the other hand, if you don't agree with Doug's fantasy opinion, you're the dumbest person in the world. That's dabs. 5 dabs. Doug for thinking I made the who will score the most points in week 1 rankings. That's 1 dab. Doug, after Greg had a good week, he was like, oh, it looks like you regret your video now, Cameron, your rankings now. Looks like you got it all wrong. I was like, Doug, I didn't make a ranking on who's going to score the most in week 1. It's a season-long ranking. So I don't know if you guys understand that, but that's a dab for Doug. Doug for saying my rankings were backwards and that he was one of the reasons why, and then he lost. 2 dabs. Doug comes at me. He's like, your rankings are all wrong. Look how sick I'm doing. Look how good Greg's doing. Your rankings are all wrong. And then he loses. That's just karma. 2 dabs. Doug for thinking production doesn't matter in fantasy. 4 dabs. That's how he was coming at me with the ETN thing. He was like, I'm like, he was good last year. And Doug was like, doesn't matter if he was good last year. And I'm like, I think it does. Will for saying my hot seat rankings mean nothing because I'm not the commissioner. 5 dabs. That is the craziest thing I've ever heard, that my hot seat rankings don't matter. Will for the insane levels of copium when it comes to punt returners. 2 dabs. Again, I don't think Kyren Williams is going to be doing that much punt returning. He did 1 this week. But Will was like, dude, if he returns 10 punts a game, he's going to be RB1. And that is ridiculous. Will for saying Cordell Patterson returned punts and broke the punting record when he didn't. 5 dabs. Will for thinking being toxic doesn't hurt your value to a team. 2 dabs. I said DK Metcalf was toxic, and Will was like, oh, so that means he's not good at football? No, but it does hurt your value to a team, makes people, not want to play with you. I just asked Stephon Diggs. He's gotten kicked off 3 teams now. And he got froze out by Buffalo at the end of the year. Being toxic is definitely not a good trait to have in a team sport. Will for letting me get to him so hard on the punt returner thing. It was mostly a joke, but I, said the Kyren Williams punt returner stuff, and it was living in Will was very upset about it, living in his head rent-free all week, so that was nice. 1 dab. Ashton for trying to butter me up. So I'm getting lost here. Ashton for trying to butter me up so I won't come at him this week. 1 dab. He complimented my video last week. He was trying to butter me up. But I'm sorry, Ash. I can't stop it. Ashton for not drafting with the in-town boys. 3 dabs. What was Ash doing? He couldn't draft with Dylan, Hunter, Greg, all them hanging out. Will at the house. He couldn't draft with them. 3 dabs. Ashton for making 2 comments about me taking 4 running backs, thinking he knows everything. 3 dabs. He made multiple comments about, I told you Cameron was going to take 4 running backs. I've done that 1 time, I think, and I was never going to do it this time. I don't know why he thought that. He was immediately proved wrong. Ashton for thinking ETN was a troll pick. We all know that Ashton is not a good judge of what a troll pick is or what a troll trade is. Ashton for auto-drafting. He auto-drafted a pick. 5 dabs. Ashton for complaining about how long the draft was taking. 2 dabs. That's how long drafts take. I don't know what to tell him. Ashton for how mad he got about how long the draft was taking. 5 dabs. He was so mad. Ashton for not just putting his phone down in between picks if he was so mad. I don't know what like if it's taking too long, just like put your phone down for a minute and do something else. I don't know. Ashton for freaking out about how long it was taking, threatening to leave and then not leaving. If it was taking so long, just leave. But he threatened to leave. He didn't ever do it. 4 dabs. Ashton for calling Bobby an idiot. 3 dabs. Ashton for making fun of Will's Amon-Ra pick when he then takes Stroud and Chase. So he basically was like, oh my God, of course he took Amon-Ra. He's obsessed with Amon-Ra. And then he takes the 2 dudes he's obsessed with, Stroud and Chase. Ashton for saying, you're not worth my time. 6 dabs. He said that seriously. That was brutal. And then Ashton was also worried that Rashee Rice was going to get suspended hours before his game. And because of that, he thought it would be a good idea to implement a player swap rule that would allow you to, like, if your player gets hurt or something, put in another player. That's, I mean, more than 5 dabs, but I gave him 5 dabs. But yeah, they had the whole offseason to suspend Rashee Rice. I don't think they're going to do it in the, 10 minutes before kickoff. Preston, he didn't watch the Friday or Sunday games, which were all very important to him. To win. So that's a dab. See, this year, Preston, he's going to say a lot of, oh, I have a kid. I can't do this. I can't do that. I'm having another kid. I have a newborn. Can't watch this game. Can't watch that game. I got to be fair here. You got to give him dabs for not watching important games. Preston for thinking $100 for the fantasy league buy-in was insane. 4 dabs. It's not that he didn't want the $100 buy-in. He thought it was absolutely insane. I was like, we spend more than $100 on dinner, and he can't spend $100 on a fantasy league once a year. Crazy. Hunter for saying I disrespected the league by drafting drafting Neighbors. 5 dabs. He said in a phone call, I disrespected the league by drafting Neighbors. And then Hunter is also saying and telling everyone he's humble. He called me, he told me that he's like, hey man, I'm the humblest fantasy guy around. I win, I'm humble. And then according to multiple sources, Hunter kept repeating, kept saying at summits and at soccer, hey, I'm humble. I'm a humble guy. When you have to keep telling people you're humble, it doesn't come off very humble. I got to open my door because I'm in my car and I'm sweating like crazy. But it's nice outside. Woo! Someone's just beating down on me. Okay, most annoying. Ashton. I'm not going to go into it, but all those dabs, super cocky, told Bobby he's an idiot, said we're not worth his time. I mean, that's annoying. Next week's best matchup, I would say, is me versus Ashton. We're both 0-2. I've talked a lot of trash about Ashton in this video. I think he's going to be one to come at me. Or we're both 0-1, and if one of us loses, we'll go 0-2, which would, not be a good start. I do predict Ashton will win, though. My team is still getting its bearings. All right, random rankings. We're almost to the end here, guys. It's a long video because of all the dabs. But I had Tracy, who you guys might remember from last year. I had her make a comeback. Tracy is a random coworker of mine who doesn't know anybody in this league. I just sent her pictures of everybody and told her to rate your attractiveness. She puts Dylan at 1, Doug at 2, which is shocking. Doug, great picture of Doug, I guess. Greg, 3 with that horrible picture. So that was wild. Will at 4, Bobby at 5. That's not a good... I purposely picked bad pictures of these guys. Preston at 6, Cameron Broker at 7, Ashton at 8, Matt at 9, Hunter, and then Sam. Hunter getting roasted there. So Tracy is back for an attractiveness rankings this year. Updated hot seat ranking. After all the shenanigans that have been going on, I updated it. Ashton shoots up to number 1 from 4 because his toxicity was on another level. I know Dylan goes down 1, Bobby stays the same, Preston, shoots up 1 spot. I don't remember why. Will goes from 8 to 5. Yeah, Will, how much does it matter now, right? So you say my hot seat rankings don't matter. I shoot you up the hot seat. And then we got the other guys, and then me, obviously the bottom. Then I thought, what am I doing? Hunter is much less on the hot seat than Doug or Greg. Doug is, out of the core 4, is the most on the hot seat. So updated that, and then I did this little aura ranking. S tier, me, Bob Saraday, John Davison, Blandford. A, Matt, Will, Preston, Hunter, Bobby, Dylan. They're all blah. And then we got Sam and Broker as a C aura. And then D, Ashton, with the least amount of aura, right next to Stephon Diggs and Jason Tatum. So that is the video this week, guys. Fill out that... I'm going to go back, but fill out that wedding survey so we can have a good video next week. And yeah, remember these times if you're going to the wedding. All right, guys, let's ride.